Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, crews in one southern Kentucky county run into a major problem while working to fix a leak. And a fire destroys a home in northeastern Kentucky.
Temperatures right now are in the teens and 20s, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. Details coming up.
Dedicated to southern and eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The brutal cold continues, and we are watching the weekend again for the possibility of a little more snow. Meteorologist Eric Dean has the latest on this first alert weather day.
That's right, Steve. A little bit of snow is not out of their own possibility as we go into Friday and to Saturday, as we'll see another dip in the jet stream and an upper level low swing south. Temperatures right now in the teens and 20s. 22 is the current temperature in Clintwood, 23 in Somerset, as well as London, 19 in Moorhead, 23 in Louisa. You factor that feels like temperature, upper single digits and low teens from Hazard up to Moorhead, from Stanton over towards Logan. So in terms of feels like temperature, as we go throughout the next several hours, we're going to hover between like that 3 to 5 degree temperature range. So if you have plans in the morning, definitely bundle up as you head out the door. Here's a live pinpoint Doppler radar. All is quiet throughout eastern Kentucky and the Commonwealth as well. So when you wake up in the morning, temperatures in the low to mid teens will greet you. Upper teens near Pikeville, single digits. Near Moorhead, we'll see partly cloudy skies, but that feels like temperature, though, well into the single digits. Now, coming up in the first alert forecast, we'll talk about when we can see temperatures going back up into the low 40s. Details in the first alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Eric, thank you. Water should be flowing again in a southern Kentucky county impacted by a leak. The problem in fixing the leak was finding it. This happened in Casey County. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to water officials about the search that finally ended this morning.
As if the cold snow and ice wasn't enough, from Sunday through a big part of Wednesday, hundreds went without their running water service.
Pretty difficult. It hurts to take baths, cook, anything.
Where we're staying is about where the water's running, the pressure's running out.
Since Sunday, crews with the East Casey Water District looked for the source of a water main break.
I have been operating this water district for 32 years, and this is the first time that I've gone more than a day before we could find the leak.
The Kentucky National Guard has been in this area assisting with this effort, delivering water door to door, and I am told that they're going to be sticking around for at least a couple of more days in the event they're needed for other events. Water main breaks are a common occurrence when weather gets this cold. Main break was finally discovered south of Dunville around 11 o'clock Wednesday morning. They say normally water will rise to the surface during a leak, but this time it did not. They suspect that it went into a cave.
And because of the ice and snow, we can't listen to the ground like with Kentucky Rural Water Association. Their leak detect finder was here all day yesterday.
You really do. A lot of people do take that for granted. If you got water, you best be blessed.
East Casey water officials say some communities have issues in discovering leaks where caves are known to be in their areas, such as in Bowling Green. In Casey County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
People who lost water will need to boil their water until further notice. This past weekend's winter storm has caused all sorts of difficulties and has presented challenges to local school districts. Public school districts receive up to 10 NTI days. For one school system, that 10th NTI day will be tomorrow. Traditional snow days are dependent on how the district does their calendar. That has already been used also in Jessamine County. Starting Friday, the school system will begin making up missed days.
Now we have to get really creative with trying to figure out where we're going to tack those days to the end and so on.
President's Day is the first day to use to make up missed time. After that, it usually means extending the school year. Crum says taking away spring break is an absolute last resort option for the county. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey talked about the winter storm this afternoon. The governor addressed the state's road crews who have been going virtually nonstop since the first snow fell Saturday evening there.
Understand that highways continues to go out and do everything imaginable to clear the roads. And they're well north of 500,000 miles that they've put in.
All 55 county school districts in West Virginia have either closed or had remote learning so far this week, and they are expecting more snow this weekend. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear also conducted a briefing today. We'll have more from him and some sad news coming from that briefing coming up in our next half hour. In Boyd County, fire crews responded to a situation where a dryer at a dog food plant caught fire. Officials say the call came in at approximately 5:30 this morning at the Highland Company in the 1800 block of US 60. Officials say the dryer caught fire before spreading to the second floor and then into the ventilation system. Members of the Cannonsburg Fire Department say no injuries were reported. One Menifee County man was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Prosecutors say Jason Talby was sentenced on complicity to trafficking in a controlled substance and persistent felony offender charges, among others. Prosecutors say Talby pleaded guilty in the case after police conducted multiple investigations. Police say Jason Talby had trafficked more than 11 grams of meth and assisted in trafficking more than 42 grams of it. President Trump has signed an appropriations package into law, and as a result, one Southwest Virginia county is receiving money for police to upgrade their radios. Dickinson County is receiving more than $859,000 as part of the Sheriff's Department's Public Safety Communications Upgrade Project. Congressman Morgan Griffith says with the federal funding available to the county, access to radio equipment will improve for local law enforcement. Kentucky lawmakers are once again considering a bill that could change your drinking water. House Bill 103 passed the House Local Government Committee this afternoon. The proposal would make water fluoridation optional for local water systems, removing the state mandate. Dr. Jack Call, a dentist with the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology, told lawmakers that studies suggest fluoride in water may lower children's IQ.
So there's this risk, and even though we don't have all the answers, when there's that kind of a risk, I think it's prudent to apply a precautionary principle.
The bill has been talked about and debated for 9 sessions now. The only difference this time is it includes legal protection so districts cannot be sued for their decision to either add or not add fluoride to the water. The bill now heads to the full House. Also in Frankfort, lawmakers voted on a bill that would make grooming a felony. House Bill 4 would add language to the state statute on sexual offenses. The bill defines grooming as an adult 18 years or older building a relationship with a minor with intent to entice, coerce, solicit, or prepare the minor into sexual acts with the adult or another person. If an adult is caught doing this with someone between the ages of 13 and 17, it would be a misdemeanor. However, if the minor is 12 or younger, it would be a felony. During today's discussion, a Louisville representative raised concern that the bill's language could target teachers who teach sex education.
A teacher teaching health or sex education to young people, to a whole class, and then after the class, one of the students wants to clear something up or come to the teacher and talk about it. My concern is it would prevent that, or the teacher may be nervous about discussing anything from the class or whatever.
But bill supporters assured her that the current laws would not allow that.
So I don't think there would be any risk. I would also note that, and while this bill certainly was not aimed at teachers, I do think because of legislation that the General Assembly has passed recently, they've been designed, for if it's outside of the classroom, there are specific methods and modes to have communications and things like that that would cover and protect these teachers. So we specifically tried to exempt that type of behavior from being criminalized.
HB 4 passed out of committee with 14 yes votes and 0 no votes. 5 lawmakers, though, chose not to vote, saying the bill has some vague language that needs to be addressed. It now heads to the full House. We are careening toward another government shutdown if lawmakers cannot come to a spending agreement by Friday. The current funding package consists of 6 different spending bills. One of those bills allocates $64 billion for the Department of Homeland Security, with $10 billion earmarked for ICE. Following the shooting death in Minnesota of Alex Preddy over the weekend, Democrats are threatening to block that bill. Instead, they want to pass the other 5 bills separately without funding ICE. Republicans say they are reluctant to do so.
Democrats are once again threatening to shut down the government, and Democrats are once again prioritizing illegal immigrants over American safety and American citizens.
Republicans voted to cut Secretary Noem a blank check and fund those roving bands of federal agents who have been knocking down doors without the slightest cause and without legal warrants.
One thing Senate Democratic and Republican leaders did agree on was the need for an independent investigation into Preddy's killing. If no spending deal is reached, the government will partially shut down at midnight on Friday night. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, one pizza chain is doing something it's not done in years in an effort to mitigate slumping sales.
And in the world of weather, it is cold and it's going to get colder. And then we have snow chances in the forecast. We'll time everything out coming up.